and you know what? Bezos is not happy. I think he's just washed his hands and he's walked away. Listen, I believe that he was a Lord of the Rings fanatic, and he thought this is going to be fun. This is going to be his big toy. He's handing it over to a bunch of creative people. Of course, he's not in the entertainment business, so that's really the only choice that he has, and which is what a good manager does, right? Because you're working on your business, not in your business. Plus, he's abandoned most of the Amazon stuff.
He's probably every bit as disappointed in the end result as we were.
I actually believe that is true.
Yeah. He might be, but at the same time, I'm looking at this article again. Like I said, sadly, I didn't get to read it until this morning, but thanks to Six, I'm able to go through it now. Like it even says here, they're basically throwing Salke under the bus for this.
Yeah.
Oh, she was always going to be the fall person.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, it says beyond Lord of the Rings, or Cock Rings of Power, as we call it around here, Salke oversaw a free spending era at Amazon in which the platform shelled out an estimated $20 billion in content in 2024 alone. And the former exec says Salke's irresponsible financial development strategy would restrict the platform from forcing executives to be more conservative. But anyway, yeah, 20. Oh my God.
Tom, if you look at what she did with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she signed her to that like ludicrously expensive development contract, and she didn't create anything. Apparently now they're going to make this Tomb Raider with Sophie Turner, but that was like after years and years of her not delivering anything.
It's not a Tomb Raider.
It's not a Tomb Raider.
Not a Tomb Raider. Thank you.
She was just very good at spending Jeff Bezos's money.
Very good.
Who's your daddy and what does he do?
Yeah, for the cause. But basically, that's what they do, these people, right? She's an activist first. And she decided, Jeff Bezos, he has a lot of money. Amazon earns so much. They don't mind if I use a little bit for activism, for putting them on the right side of history. Look at the end result.
I hope these corporations realize the amount of money that was sunk into this garbage.
Well, I mean, but don't forget, Amazon during that time was a member of that stupid human rights something. And they were...
The Human Rights Index, you mean?
Yes. They were not the highest on it, and they were making some attempts to become part of that clique. I think they've abandoned it now.
You remember, I mean, like Jennifer Salke gaslit everybody about this series when it first came out. She was like, oh, X amount of people have engaged with the series. We're like, well, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, that included all of us that made videos hating on it. We engaged with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when Parent Analytics tried to say that The Acolyte was a success because it had a high engagement rate. It's like, no, that's people saying that it sucks.
Yeah, I love that term because I obviously, you guys know I come from the web side, and whenever a company, Fortune 500 company that we worked with, talked about hiring social media people, it was amazing the stats they would bring to the meetings, such as engagement. and then I would go, okay, so how did that translate to actual cash in the bank? And no one could actually give that information.
Yeah, don't ask such questions. I mean, how dare you? They haven't prepped for that. just go with the program. That's very of the fundamentals of digital marketing is don't ask questions.
And
the presenter can't answer.
And they'd use words like touch. We have touched 23 million people. You mean like a predator?
Yeah. Exactly. But I mean, we all saw the Nielsen ratings. We all saw how season to season just down. Like it was. I forget. I'm trying to remember the exact percentage that they lost the first season from the first episode to the last one. But wasn't it like upwards of 60 to 70% of the audience just did not make it to the end of the show?
It was something ridiculous because the number that they shit out later here, which doesn't seem so bad. That's when you've already subtracted the people that were lost from the opening of season 1.
Didn't they lose a huge chunk right after the first 2 or 3 episodes anyway?
That's when the big drop-off was.
Yeah, because like, and a lot of people were speculating on the original numbers wasn't that possibly because they had the first episode on it set as the landing page for Amazon. So like when you would go on Amazon Prime Video, it would start playing as the advertisement at the top, and it would just keep playing.
Right.
So if you watch so much of it, it counted as a view. So I think that's what people were thinking they ended up doing to get so many views on that first episode.
Well, you remember every bit of Amazon packaging that came to anyone's house had the Rings of Power on it.
Yeah,
for
that's what I mean.
like a
Yeah.
month. Yeah.
And so when you opened up their landing page on like your Roku or whatever,
Mhm.
the Lord of the Rings would be the first thing up there, and it would just let the thing play. So like if you just sat there and let it play, I think for like 2, 3 to 5 minutes, they counted that as a view or whatever.
You know,
Whatever
in the interest of finding something nice to say, Bear McCreary's score on it is actually really nice.
There's
There
a
are
few things I'm sure, but yeah.
Also, to paraphrase Cultured Casino, the camera is consistently in focus.
that's very good. Yeah, just what a nightmare.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think it's too long for life when it comes to Lord of the Rings. So is there anything more to say on that?
I think we covered pretty much what there is to say about it.
Indeed. So we have Hollywood Burns who says, should have Hollywood and rebooted Rings Sting of Power, or should have canceled and rebooted Rings Sting of Power. Well, it shouldn't even be a show. I mean, you don't have the rights to do everything you need to do. That's the other thing we didn't even discuss is how much money they had to pay out to Warner Brothers, because to use certain rights to certain things they have to, and that's what we heard they did.
Yep.
But and even then, they paid all this money and they didn't get everything. They can't say the word Hobbit.
No, that's what I'm saying. Even though the New Line logo's at the end, New Line has little to next to nothing to do with this. They just have that on there because of rights issues.
They are there to collect a paycheck, because in
Yep.
order to even hint at certain characters, they have to have a New Line's approval. So I stand corrected. I said before that the only ones that made money on this were the Tolkien estate. New Line also made money from this.
AKA
For this,
Warner
this
Brothers.
was free money. They just have to sit back and collect paychecks while Amazon screws up royally. And another thing is that because of this, I'm sure that this thing is what finally triggered Warner to get back into the Lord of the Rings business. They had the rights retainer with that animated thing, which I didn't think was half bad, but that was just a rights retainer, it giving them time to do the Gollum movie and all other things to follow. So they'll be going all in on Lord of the Rings. That's going to be the real Lord of the Rings, unlike these Ranks of Power.
This Gollum movie, though, are you guys actually excited for that? It
No.
feels like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel just to try to bleed
I'm-
out of this.
I'm not
Yes.
excited for it in the slightest, but at least it's a dive back into that world. I would rather they do more adaptations of what Tolkien actually wrote rather than do this fan fiction. But given that they're doing fan fiction, I would much rather have the people at Warner and the people in the circle around Peter Jackson do that fan fiction than these rejects and nobodies from Team J.J. Abrams, who were only hired because of nepotism and the promise to put in tons and tons of messaging. I'd rather trust Warner with it.
You knew Rings of Power was in trouble when Peter Jackson said that he reached out to the team and said, hey, like, if you need me, I'm here. Like, I can help, I can consult, and like that. And they just never called him back. Not even a no thank you, just never called him back.
Well, I think there was actually a little bit more to that, because if I remember right, they did talk to him, and he said they talked to him, but then they stopped talking to him. And then he reached out to them again and said, hey, do you still need my help or anything like that? And it's basically what you just said. And then they just ghosted him. And what I think
basically
happened,
what they said was, hey, we saw that you wanted to talk. Well, don't call us, we'll call you. Bye. That was them reaching out. Probably.
And I have a reason that I think that is because they knew they couldn't. Because once Peter got involved, then they'd have to pay out more to Warner Brothers, I think they realized.
Probably.
I think that's what happened. Because in what world would you not want Peter Jackson's name attached to this? I think they knew they legally couldn't, I think was the problem, without paying out a huge payment to Warner Brothers. Because make no mistake about this. When we say New Line Cinema, that's what we mean is Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Because New Line Cinema isn't even really a company anymore. They're just a
No.
label basically under Warner
Swallowed
Brothers now.
up by Warner, gobbled up back in the day.
And sadly, Lord of the Rings is a big reason for that too. But yeah, that's a
But
whole
actually,
story. But yeah,
But I think two things can be true at once here. I think you are entirely right in that the people behind the ranks of power don't really want to pay anymore to Warner and New Line. But even without that, I don't think they really want Peter Jackson's input because they're not fans of what he did. They're going to consider his Lord of the Rings to be problematic and right-wing. You can't have that. I mean, if you just go back and scour the internet around the time when the Ranks of Power first came out, there were so many articles that were actually blasting the Peter Jackson movies for being problematic because they didn't have enough diversity. That's very, very bad. It's dangerous to have something like that. So they did this. There was like this thing trying to reframe it as problematic, but now finally comes the Lord of the Rings for everyone. I don't think that they wanted Peter Jackson because that would assume some kind of reverence and intention to stay true to his vision. And they never had that. Any of it.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 AM Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe and join us.